packaging and labeling in the pharma world. So here we have the objectives that we've laid out. So there's a certain amount of complexity to packaging and labeling that oftentimes gets missed. And I'd like to give people the opportunity, let's say if you are in the packaging and labeling world, to get a better sense as to what your value is within the organization. And if you're not in that area, to really understand what value they bring. So there are a number of considerations, things like the requirements for packaging and labeling from the regulatory agencies, things that could potentially come up to hamper the ability of getting packaging ready for production. Some other situations that that come up that maybe are not the norm, but you may be dealing with them in your day-to-day. A little bit about foreign language labeling, and some talk about product launches, which is a pretty hot topic and where the packaging and labeling function becomes even more critical. So I like to think of packaging and labeling as somewhat of a funnel, like the narrow end of it, and all the inputs that come in come from a wide range of different departments, which we'll get into. And when you have a launch especially, but it's also true when you have significant revisions to an existing package or product, that the packaging group is really important in making sure that that product gets delivered in a timely fashion and in conformity with all the regulations. So it's important also, and I've noticed varying degrees of knowledge in the industry, people who are not in packaging, about exactly what can potentially happen in the packaging area, so that you can plan for them ahead of time and hopefully avoid costly errors by dealing with them early on rather than late when everything is critical and the deadlines are short. So I can very safely say that the packaging and labeling tests are often underestimated because oftentimes when the project manager is working on them, especially in a launch, there's a lot of attention being paid to the actual product, and of course that attention is warranted, and the plant has a number of steps that it has to complete, but the packaging is not any less important than the product, because from a regulatory agency standpoint, in some cases you could almost say that the package is the product. And oftentimes people who are earlier in the process may spend more time than the project administrator or the project manager has allotted to them, which increases the crunch on anyone who is further down the line in the process flow. But you don't want to underestimate the different ways that some faulty information in the packaging and labeling area could have a real negative effect on your bottom line.